I'm fully aware. We're live. All right, we're live. Hey, SK family. If you're new here, I'm Stephanie.
And I'm Katia, and together we're HSK.
We help people who are ready to stop repeating the same patterns,
build their self worth, create healthy relationships, and start making choices to move different in their lives.
Around here, we're going to have the conversations that make you think, challenge some things that you've been taught,
and give you practical tools you actually can use to move different.
So whether you've been rocking with us or you just found us tonight, you are part of the conversation. So start by dropping where you're watching from and below.
And while you're at it, tonight, we need you to put on your thinking caps.
Tonight, we want to ask you something. How many times do you have to communicate the same boundary before it stops being a problem? Oof.
Because sometimes you don't need another boundary. You need to make a decision.
Ooh.
Before you get into it, put a number in the chat. How many times are you willing to communicate the same boundary? 1, 2, 3. As many times as it takes, let us know. Think about it.
You want the hello? Hi. Do you want the healed version or the old me answer?
You can share both.
The old me would have given multiple chances if I even maybe expressed it at all. I mean, sometimes depending on who it was or the situation, I suffered in silence. The new me, and we're going to dig a little deeper into this, is once I'm positive that we are on one accord, 3, that's valid, fair. Once I'm valid, you understood, and it also depends on the severity, you get 1, maybe 2. After that, I feel like it's a pattern. I gotta go.
For me, I'm the same thing. The old me just allowed people to walk and do whatever. I never even set boundaries. In my head, I did, but out loud, no. But now, it would depend on the situation and how often I've seen the person, because I feel like when you set boundaries and you don't see the person that often, is you don't enforce it a lot, and so there's time and distance, in anything we do, repetition, it creates growth and new patterns. So if they don't have opportunities to be around me a lot, I might give them a little more grace. But if we are in close proximity on a consistent basis, you only get about 1 or 2 times, and then I'm gonna have a conversation and let me rephrase this and see where it goes from there. So that's how I feel now.
Yeah, I think sometimes people operate, especially if you're like an 80s baby, maybe early 90s and older, the world was a little bit different and there was just a general common courtesies that generally occurred. And I think as the world is evolving, for me, sometimes you just expect things that should go and they're like, they don't. I know for me, sometimes that disconnect happens too. Do you know what a boundary is? Like, I think sometimes a lot of people think they know, but sometimes they may not know. But a boundary versus a decision. A boundary is something that you need to establish early on in your relationship. However that relationship is, whether it's romantic, a co-working, friendship, like when we say relationship, that's what we mean. Because they teach people how to treat you. It basically lets people know what is acceptable to you. But it also lets them know what you need from them. That's that right? Yeah, what you need from them. So that way they can decide if things are healthy in a perfect world, if it's something that they can accommodate, if they're able and willing. And they're like, look, that's what you need that, and I can't do it. And then also, one of the most important things that a boundary needs to have is what will happen if the behavior that the unwanted behavior continues.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yes.
You know,
A decision happens when you have enough information to act.
yeah.
And I think sometimes we try to make decisions and we don't have enough information. So the important distinction is a boundary isn't primarily about controlling what the other person does, because a lot of times you might get that. It's about deciding what you will do in response.
It's true, because you can't control other people.
So, like an example, not really a boundary. You're not allowed to yell at me.
I mean, technically, I'm an adult. I can do what I want.
Correct. The boundary is if you start yelling at me, I'm going to end the conversation and we can try this when you are calm. So the other one, you can't yell at me. That's just like barking an order.
Mm-hmm.
But the boundary comes when you give the behavior and you tell what's going to happen from that behavior. That's how you distinguish a boundary. So if you do X, Y, Z, this is what's going to happen. That is a boundary. When you just start saying you're not going to do this to me, and I'm not tolerating this, and I'm not, that sounds more like nagging, or it sounds like you barking orders.
Right.
It gives you that fine line. The decision becomes, they yell again.
Ooh.
Do you actually end the conversation? And that is where your decision to enforce what you said. You already told them, if you do this, this is what's going to happen. Okay, they do it.
But how many times?
I
was like, back to our original question. How many times are you going to let them do that before you?
How many times is that person going to yell at you before you say, hey, end the conversation?
Yeah.
And say, you know what? I want to have this conversation with you, but not in this energy.
So what happens if you've if you explain the same boundary like repeatedly? Like, we did a short earlier that kind of talked about boundaries versus decision. And we said some of you don't need any more boundaries. You need to make a decision because you've repeatedly said your boundaries. And they keep crossing them, whatever that boundary may be. So then you have, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, you go.
I was just thinking about that because it just brought back memories. Like, I feel caught now.
Sometimes you read back those scripts like, dang, I really put that. Oh.
I was like, oh, I'm calling myself out.
Right. Like, oh, I really said that. Oh.
Right.
Sorry. But, you need to hear it. I needed to hear it at one point. Sometimes I need the reminder. So I'm like, oh, you snatched my witch, because I definitely did a little bit too much. Because sometimes, you explain the boundary repeatedly and they keep choosing to cross it. So let's dig deeper into that. So when does repeating the boundary become over-explaining?
I think when there's no change behavior.
Yeah.
For me, like, I feel like when they're in that, because the thing is, what boundary does, it protects you.
It does.
But it also can help that person grow because nobody ever challenged them.
Ooh.
And I think that's why boundaries are important, because we're protecting ourselves. But you also helping another person grow, because once they get it, guess what they're going to do? They be like, you check me. Now they're going to start checking people. So I think it becomes over-explaining when there's no change behavior. Like, you just keep repeating yourself. You sound like a little polyp, like a parrot.
Yeah. That's funny.
So there is a few differences with it. Someone genuinely misunderstanding. That could be that.
Yeah, like it could be like a language or a cultural barrier. Yeah.
Because sometimes
the way you go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I would say sometimes the way you explain things, they just didn't understand. Sometimes you got to break it down a little bit. I think of that sometimes with kids, especially like, we've got custody with my nephew, for example, and he was raised, differently, and so sometimes the way we say things, it's he has some people like he doesn't quite understand, you know, cultural differences.
Yeah, sometimes the misunderstanding is sometimes that if it's been years of you not setting a boundary, sometimes people gotta go in person. Did she really just tell me? Like,
Yeah.
and it's like they ain't they gonna come back again. Oh, she's serious.
So I did understand. So
I didn't misunderstand. So it could be adjustment, like someone need time to adjust. That runs back into the next one.
Yeah.
So you have some people that may generally misunderstand. Someone needs time to adjust.
Yeah. I think of that all the time, especially with people who like transition to like that too. Like that becomes a boundary of like, accidentally using like the wrong pronoun. I think of that when I think of like time to adjust, because that is like, especially the older, I don't want to say too much about that, but giving people a little bit of grace with that.
And then the time to adjust, you have to know when, you have to figure out that time frame for you, and have that conversation with somebody. Especially, like I said, it goes back to how much time you spend with that person.
That's true.
Because like if I'm like, okay, if I'm the only LGBT person in my family per se, and they are not around nobody else, like they don't have a lot of time to really, they're not around me a lot. They don't have a lot of time to practice and be in that space. So, sometimes you got to look at that too.
The stuff that they may have said, either they didn't realize was offensive, or, language changes. So something that was acceptable when the last time they were around somebody no longer is, stuff like that. I get it.
I have that problem too, because most of my circle is masc presenting women who still identify as women.
Right.
So I was like, I'm not being funny.
Right.
So when I say girl, it's not personal.
Absolutely.
I hang around mostly people who identify as women. So I get it. Someone making a mistake.
Ooh. Yeah.
Again, me saying she when she is now he.
Or like just accidentally. Because like I was watching a show yesterday and she made like a joke, but she wasn't aware of the circumstances of that. So she made a joke about somebody's like a personal item, like a doll or something.
Yeah.
It was a personal item, and she didn't know that it represented like her grandmother who's passed on. So she got offended, but she didn't know that that was something that was near and dear. And had she known, she wouldn't have said that. So that was kind of like a boundary, like a unspoken boundary to those who knew, but she was unaware. So she made a mistake. She didn't know. So I think of that, what you say, making a mistake. Because once she was like, oh shoot, I'm really sorry. I didn't know. Had I known, I would have never, said that.
And then you have that person, someone who understands perfectly well and chooses differently anyway.
See, that's when you have to make a decision. Like this is like, but you have to be able to decipher those. You have to be able to determine, is this a misunderstanding? Do I need to rephrase it when I explain it again? Is this something like is it time to adjust? Are we adjusting? Is it something new? Have I changed? Have I grown? Or has something altered it? Did somebody accidentally, maybe the person genuinely wasn't aware of this new boundary for whatever reason, something changed, or they don't know that intimate part of you, or somebody perfectly understood you loud and clear, and it's like, you know what, I don't care, and crossed your boundary anyways.
And the reason why you want to understand the difference between someone genuinely misunderstanding, someone time adjusting, someone making a mistake, and then you have those people who know well and just choose to move different. The reason why you want to understand those differences, because you don't want to be like, someone crossed my boundary once and they're done.
Yeah.
This is not what we're talking about. That's why it's important to understand boundary. When is a boundary need to be set or reinforced or enforced, or you just need to make a decision. So, because there's not a conversation of just cutting somebody off just because they made a mistake the first time. That's why we're going through the different scenarios and understanding the difference. Because some relationships do require grace.
They do.
And the pattern matters.
Yes, yeah.
And that's really what we looking at when we talking about boundaries versus decision, the pattern behavior.
Yeah, because you'll know that person understands, and you'll know because you'll say it. You'll say it loud and clear. I don't like it when you yell at me. Unless you speak another language other than English, like I spoke English, unless you speak another language other than English, you understood that loud and clear. And then they yell at me, which means you understood me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know another way to phrase that. I mean, even a child can understand that. Yell. I don't like it. Or do not yell at me. If you yell, I'm not going to continue this conversation. That was understood loud and clear.
And then sometimes with boundaries and even in communication in general, what helps me and puts the responsibility back on the other person is after you explain your boundaries, since we talk about boundaries here, ask the person, can you repeat back to me what I just said to you regarding my boundary?
Yeah.
That way they verbally said it to you. And then they say, is this what I'm hearing? And you say, yes. So a lot of times we just say it and let their behaviors show that they got it. But if you ask them the questions up front and have them say it back to you in that moment, okay, now you got it. So they leave away understanding what you said, even if they take time, that adjustment period is still there, but you understood what I said. So then now you can move forward. That helps a lot too.
It does. Can I ask you a question?
Yes, sure.
How do you, and this is like for your personal, you know, where you draw the line. How do you know when someone doesn't understand you, like genuinely, versus when they understand you and just either don't care or they don't agree?
I'm gonna use I'm trying to think of a good example that I can explain that. I always just use my lifestyle, me being a lesbian. Because that's a boundary there, because people misgender me all the time because I dress masculine presenting.
Sorry, I just had a memory.
So for me, someone who doesn't understand me, they generally, like, you would see them trying to ask questions. Like, hey, can you explain, like, am I saying this right?
Yeah.
So that just lets me know they generally don't understand, but they want more knowledge. Versus that person who understands and just don't agree or don't care. That family member of mine who keeps saying, hey, little boy, and he know I'm not a boy, he don't care. So I feel like when people really don't understand you, they ask questions to understand you. And that's where that grace, understanding. But people know what they saying, they just do what they want to do. Because I'm not a boy.
Right.
So that's the example I want to use.
Okay, that's how you can tell.
Yeah.
You feel like they genuinely are asking questions and are trying to navigate something new or something. That's how you can tell.
And even the same thing with a boundary. Because to me, not calling me a boy, and when I'm not trans, is my boundary. Don't call me that. Don't joke with me like that. And you still do it, he don't care.
Got it. Okay.
So what about you?
I know when they generally don't understand, versus they just don't care, is if you've explained it clearly, we've had a conversation, maybe even stem from like maybe an argument or something, like some sort of discourse, and it still continuously keeps happening. I'm sorry's, like, we've been in them relationships, I'm sorry, baby, and then they keep doing it. Like you understood enough that to know you were wrong and to apologize, but then you do it, so you understood.
Got it.
Situations like that. That's how
sense.
I'm able to kind of decipher the difference between the two. Like,
so if I'm hearing, what I'm understanding you say is that if you can apologize, you are aware that you did something wrong. So that indicates an understanding.
You did something
you apologize.
Yeah, you did something that offended me in some capacity, which means you crossed some sort of boundary. Yeah, something you knew. You knew I didn't like it or something. Yeah, you knew. You knew.
So I want to ask y'all out there in SK world, Have you ever realized somebody understood your boundary the first time and you were the one who kept explaining it? Like they got it, but you just keep on explaining it.
Oh,
You were the one to keep explaining it. They haven't crossed it.
I mean, oh,
Yeah.
the first time
They understood it the first time.
they did cross it, and they just keep doing it. Is that what I'm understanding?
No.
No. Oh.
No, they understood you the first time, but you feel the need to keep reminding them. Like they haven't
Oh.
crossed the boundary. Like they got, like, I got it. I haven't done nothing wrong, you know.
Oh,
And you
they
find
meant.
yourself
Oh.
continuing to over explain. Keep explaining it. So like I'll give you an example. Oh, you got one.
No, you go ahead. You go ahead.
So I'll use the example of my wife, you. Like I know I did this initially. I don't play about my wife. And I always tell people, don't play when it come to her. I might not go to jail for mine, but if somebody, I'm all about her, 10 toes down. And I found myself always explaining that, like whether we was on live, on a post, or in person. Like, look, I don't play about my wife. Ain't nobody did nothing to her, but I felt the need to let people know that I don't. So that was my example. But I scaled back because what I don't want is for people not to, befriend you or talk to you out of fear of me
saying something wrong.
Saying wrong if they might slip up and they like, I don't want no smoke. So I don't want to cause you friendships because they know I don't play about you. So I felt like and anytime I got a chance, I was over explaining it. And that's just my self-awareness. But I've scaled back a lot. People know I don't play about you. I don't need to say it.
Right.
And even if, and that's why is it fair to that person when they have not crossed you? So it's like you wronging somebody and they didn't do nothing wrong.
They didn't do anything to you. That makes sense.
That was mine.
Fair. Valid.
A little self-awareness.
I know it's good. It is. It is.
It's so refreshing.
It is.
When I can check myself.
It is. I wish more people could do that. I think the world would be a happier place, honestly. I do. I really do. There we go. I really do. Okay.
Yeah.
So in our short, we said that we're spending more time explaining, well, you're spending more time explaining the consequences than actually following through.
And if you haven't seen the show,
you should go watch it. Oof. So you notice that. You're repeatedly saying this happens again, I'm going to insert whatever the boundary is, like whatever the consequence of them doing whatever you don't like. But nothing changes. They keep doing it again and again and again and again. And remember what I said at the beginning, boundaries teach people how to treat you. You've taught them that your boundary really doesn't matter because you keep saying that you're going to do it. If A keeps happening, B is going to happen, and A keeps happening, and B never happens. Never happens. And so you basically told them, like, yeah, whatever, treat me this way. I don't value myself enough to stand on band, so keep doing it because I'm not going to do anything about it. But F it, just keep doing it. And so they're thinking, okay, this consequence is not going to happen because it hasn't happened before. Right. You know how that goes. That no good significant other, no matter what your orientation is, either you were that person, are that person, or you're a friend to that person. How many times that person cheated and you, them, or your friend, if you were or stayed or continue to stay, or your friend called you, how many times they called you? Or how many times have your children, you've reprimanded them for the same behavior that you've clearly explained in age-appropriate language, and they don't have any, no delays or anything. Bless you.
Thank you.
For you parents out there or parental figures. How many times have you said, If you don't clean your room, you can't go to, and their room's not clean to how you taught them or how you clearly explained it should be, and they were still able to go.
And then months later, you frustrated. They don't listen. Nothing I do works.
Well, I mean, really, but you haven't done anything. And no, not to be funny, but I mean, only thing you've done is just talk. It's just talking. It's noise at that point. All it is talk, 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 talk. And all you've done is make noise and teach them that, well, I'm a doormat. Whatever you can do, whatever, because I'm not gonna do anything about it anyways. We just talk about it. I might cry out in the shower later and bitch to my significant other, but that's it.
Yeah, you pretty much got to do it how I was taught when I was in school for teaching. You come in straight face, rules lay out, and then as you build relationship, you ease back a little bit. You still keep that respect, but you don't come in just loose.
My mom was a teacher, and she said the same thing, and I kept that approach when I worked in residential, and it helped a little bit. And my parents actually had that parenting style with me. That's a conversation for another day, because the other child is a boy, and y'all know how that goes. That's a conversation for another day. But they were harder on us when we were younger, and as we aged, well, me specifically, they loosened up slowly. They loosened up with me a lot slower with that. Anyways, conversation for another day. So let me ask you this. And I'm sorry if this is going. Listen, no. I mean, this might offend you and hurt your feelings, but this is a question I'm going to ask her in love, but this is for you too. Can you really call something a boundary if you're unwilling to enforce it? What do you think?
No, it's not a boundary. It's just bull.
I'm laughing at your response, not the question.
No, you cannot. And that's why if you have boundaries, they would be enforced. They're just thoughts at that point.
So why do you think people don't follow through?
I think people don't follow through because lack of confidence, and they fear of being alone. Because my thing is, if be honest, if you're a user, I always say use people with good hearts attract user spirits.
Yes.
It just naturally happens.
It's like magnets.
It's just gonna. That's why you got to set a boundary.
They're drawn to each other.
Because y'all connection is never going nowhere. That's just that dynamics of science, how it works. A user see somebody with a big heart, they're gonna come. You got to set the boundaries. No.
Yep.
And how do I know? Yeah. That's why I feel like some people, they don't want to lose people. They're friends or family.
Yeah.
They're already black sheep of the family. You got that scoop of family members that actually rock with you, and then they ain't really good for you.
The few of them are users.
And then you like alone.
Yeah.
You don't want to be alone. We haven't learned to love ourselves enough to sit with ourselves and be okay with it. Like, I'm at that point where I can, but some people are not. And that's a level of love that you have to grow to. Like, you know what? No matter what, I'm going to choose me.
Right.
What do you think?
They may feel guilty, for whatever reason. I mean, even the users the way they phrase things, the same person keeps asking you for money and they don't pay it back, or they pay it back, but not the way they told you they were when they asked you for it. If they say pay you back next Friday and then you don't get it until 6 months later, this happens repeatedly. And you've said, hey, I'm not going to loan you any more money if you don't pay back on like you promised. And then they ask you again and you do it. But then they give you the sob story as to why they need this money. And you're going to feel guilty because whatever they told you. And whatever they told you could be valid. I'm not, whatever. I thought you were about to sneeze. whatever, it could be valid, or it may not be. It may just be the sob story to tug at your heart to get you to give them the money that they're only they know. Only them and whatever they believe in, creator, God, whatever. It's between them and whoever they got that scheme, you know. I think another one though, for real, that dreaded P word. Potential. Like, I know for me, I dated someone months too long that shit. He didn't even last a year, but long enough. But it was the potential. Really, like you see the potential. So you're like, I see what this could be if you just, change up a little, change what you're doing and maybe do better. Maybe stop doing what you're doing, or
I'm glad he didn't.
Well,
me, of course I'm
no, me too, because that was a bad match anyways, for a number of reasons moving forward. That seeing how my life has played out 10 plus years, like even health wise, that I'd probably be dead, realistically, honestly.
To my brother.
No, honestly, I'd probably be dead by now, honestly, or very, very, very worse off than I am, honestly. Let's just be a spade. So, but that's really it. The dreaded P word keeps people in relationships, even sometimes they can be friendships too, longer than they should be. They do. Like, you see it. You're like, you want your homegirl to, you said you're going to go to college and finish this program together, and they over there, they letting that boy distract them. You focus. You're like, look, I see it. You can really come on. Listen, let them pussy pop over there, and you do you. So that P word. Oh, he scared me. Yeah.
Gotta follow through. You gotta just follow through on these boundaries, because you're gonna be drained, and no one else is to blame.
That's true. I agree. I agree. I think also too, sometimes you can't. I think sometimes, like, people in unhealthy relationships, sometimes, like, you may not have the means to do so. Or some people, like, stay in relationships or romantic relationships for the kids.
Yeah, but we talked about that. Them kids be wanting to go too.
No, seriously. Most of the time they see it, but they see you arguing, they see the mistreatment, and they really want you to split. They're like, look, and a lot of times they're like, oh, you were so much happier when y'all not together. Like, ooh. Like, at first, after they get over the adjustment, they're like, I like this. You're, but honestly, like, sometimes, like, seriously, you may not have the means. Like, look, I can't afford to leave, like, this relationship. I don't like it. But get your game plan. Like, you mentally checked out. And while you getting your game plan, you're physically still there. So you're still technically putting up with it while that person is repeatedly crossing that boundary, because you're working on getting that bag so you can get out.
Get that plan together. So I got a question for y'all out there. Hey, you too, Steph, if you want to answer.
Oh, God.
Okay. Which is harder for you? Communicating the boundary or following through when it's crossed?
For me, I think it boils down to the person and the situation. Yeah. Because, like, say, for example, your job. You need your job. In this economy, stuff as high as giraffe balls. And from what I'm understanding, those are actively in the job market. It's hard. So if your boss crosses a boundary and you don't have enough saved, you don't have a backup plan, you don't have a partner that can hold you down, or parent, whatever, that's hard. You know what I mean? Like, you may be hard to communicate that boundary because you're afraid, even if I communicate this in the most respectful way possible, it may not be received that well, and I could potentially lose my job. That's one way. That's why I said it depends on the person and the situation. Some, but yeah, with following through when it's crossed, yeah, probably some of the reasons we listed above. Like, I don't want to say I'm conflict avoidant, but I am kind of an empath, and I can kind of sometimes read, like, this conversation is probably not going to go that well, just based off of conversations that we've had, maybe. And so I think sometimes, and for following through, depending on, like, the crossing Sorry, which is hard. Communicating would be harder because of that. So I don't know. What about you?
The old me was really communicating the boundary, the unhealed version of me. Like, I know I needed to say no internally, but they would never know because I would do it. So it was just like
Mm.
I didn't communicate my boundaries, and then I'd be like, "Dang, I should have said something."
So it's like knowing. So you knew better, but you weren't doing better.
And now sometimes it's following through. And sometimes, like, it depends on the day you catch me. I don't even got energy to deal with them. I'm like, all right, you got it, whatever. But you can't just let that type of stuff slide because people will continue to. Then you may take a converted person who used to following your boundaries and respecting, like, oh, she's going back to her old ways. I ain't gotta. So now
Oh.
sometimes when you retract,
Yeah.
other people going to retract because it's easier for you to just give in. Like, oh, you
Yeah.
going back to giving in? Oh, I like this version of you because you challenging them. So right now, most of the time I do like, look, no, I'm not dealing with it. Sometimes I just put posters up like I did.
You said put
Posters up.
posters.
Like at work, I got a poster positive vibes, protecting the peace of S3.
So they know.
Which is my section. So you already know. So on my days where I might not be good at following through, that's why it's good to come to us. This not us, but get your motivational gear, because sometimes you might not be in the space to speak, but your outfit could tell them, like, don't play with me.
Today's not the day.
Yep.
I'm protecting my peace.
That's why having positive clothing made by us is good to have.
That is true.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think you just really need to pay attention to people's patterns before you make the decision, because their behavior truly is the answer of how they feel. 60% of communication is nonverbal, and my mother always told me actions speak louder than words. And an apology isn't change without change behavior. I said that earlier. That was one of the things that was the determining factor for me. You can apologize all you want to, but if you keep doing it, then to me, that doesn't count for me.
And some of y'all be looking for verbal answers. Their actions is telling you.
Yep.
Like if somebody like continuously use you, continuously in a relationship cheat on you, continuously lie to you, continuously talk down to you. Like, I mean, why do you need them to tell I hate you? Like, you need to hear those words.
I mean, honestly, for some people, yes. And no, seriously, because I'm learning that people are very literal. Like, they don't read the room and they don't read behaviors. Like, yeah, for some people, they literally might be. I hope not.
That's
but yeah. But their actions are pretty much telling you they don't like you.
And then sometimes people grow up in households where they seen abuse, and then they say I love you, and then they seen their parents or their parental figures, because not always biological parents. They do all this mean stuff, and they next thing you know they hugging and kissing. They're like, oh, that's what love is, and then they put up with it. No. So when should you give someone another chance?
Yeah, so I don't want you guys to think, if that we're saying that you should ghost people. Like, when the consequence of crossing a boundary should not automatically be ghosting people and not cutting off access and not being around them anymore.
Right.
Like, that's not what this is. And maybe we should have said this sooner. That's not what we mean.
No, we did say it up there.
Oh yeah, a little bit. But yeah, that doesn't mean ghost them. Yeah, we did. Yeah, that doesn't mean ghost them. Just to make that clear, or cut access. It doesn't mean like we're never going to speak to them ever again.
Yeah, we just giving you some examples of what a boundary looks like, and when it's like, all right, we gotta make a decision.
Yeah, because like you can tell the difference. Like, they acknowledge what happens and like apologize. I think a genuine, sincere apology acknowledges what happened, so that counts. They'll apologize. And they'll validate your feelings. They won't minimize your feelings. They'll validate them. And or validate the situation. They won't try to gaslight you. And I'm not saying that buzzword, like legit, they won't try to gaslight you. That, they'll actually they'll take ownership and responsibility for their part in what happened without making it like your fault. I did that because you. No, you won't hear that. They'll say, you know what? I should have, even though whatever they did, whatever, even if it is a result, like, you know what? Because at the end of the day, you're in control of your actions. So their response to maybe their response to you doing something to them, they could have easily, like we said in that reel, taken space. So if the boundary was, if you yell at me, we're going to use that example, and maybe you said something that triggered them. They could have used a prime example in that reel. That's a perfect time to take that space. You know what? Give me a minute. I need a minute to decompress. Let's revisit this in an hour and actually come back to the conversation. So you can't do that. You got to take responsibility. You can't make you the other person responsible. And then they actually do put effort into doing better without you having to be like a helicopter over top of them, like, you know, watching them or keep reminding them. They do it automatically. And if they accidentally slip up, it's, oh, my bad. You know?
Yeah. Those are all good examples of when it's a reasonable to give another person a chance. Because, you know, we all grown. No one's perfect. But you have to have that balance of understanding when enough is enough. Because I think we get in that cycle of no one's perfect and we've all make mistakes, and we get in that wheelhouse, and that's why we start allowing everything, any and everything, multiple times, year and year, month after month, and you never hold anybody accountable. And the moment you hold somebody accountable, it's like, well, they're not perfect. Yeah, I've given them 300 chances to get it right.
What is the difference between giving someone grace and repeatedly giving someone access to hurt you? Like, where is your personal boundary? And those of you who made it this far, comment below and tell us where's the distinction for you? What's the difference between giving someone grace and repeatedly giving someone access to continue to hurt you? Where's your boundary?
In the current state I'm in, my circuit is short.
Okay.
Giving someone grace is having that conversation with them. Because somebody don't know me and they do something. Like, I don't like nobody touch my stuff.
Yeah.
And then somebody don't know me. They come and like, oh, I took your charger off the desk and I used it. They don't know me. In their mind, in their household, they can take whatever they want. Yeah. So I'm gonna have that conversation. Hey, you don't know me, so this is your pass. I don't like nobody touching my stuff. If you want to borrow something, please ask. And on my desk right now, I got my Lego sets, and I say, please do not touch. I got a sign because people will test you. And so that's me giving them grace.
Okay.
That's and this is me now. That person come, do it again, and I don't say nothing. And do it again, I'll say, now I'm giving them access to hurt me because I'm not enforcing the boundary.
Right.
The moment they know, like, because that's a simple thing. Don't touch my stuff.
Yeah, because I'm never going to let you borrow anything.
Right.
The answer's always going to be no. You can't respect me enough to not touch my stuff.
So you keep, the moment every time you don't enforce it after you give them that period of grace, I'm giving them access to hurt me. That's just for me.
Right.
That's my level. Yeah.
I got it. Okay.
What about you?
Okay. Yeah. About the same. That's pretty much about the same. You have to let them know, and then you have to about the same.
Yeah, and the decision doesn't automatically mean cut them off, divorce them, or end a friendship. Like, it's not that cut and dry. No. You know, it might mean sometimes you got to change your access to someone. Like, hey, we at the family reunion. We don't talk like we used to. We sharing the same space. No argument, no mean, but don't feel like you can just come up and things gonna be the same.
Or like the example you gave when we were talking earlier about the person who's always late all the time. Or no, every time you make plans, they cancel. We actually had a situation like that too.
Mhm.
You just stop inviting them. You know, they may be a great sounding board over the phone. They might be a great person for advice, business advice, personal advice, or just a great person to chit chat.
Mhm.
Maybe you have great co-working sessions. But the moment you guys try to make plans in person, provided you live in the same area, and it just doesn't work, just stop inviting them. That doesn't mean that, you know, you're not friends with them anymore. You just stop making plans
They're not the
to,
person you hang out with.
in person.
Or you lend somebody some money and they continue not to borrow. That don't mean you got to cut them off and not be friends, or a family member don't deal with them. Just stop the boundary stops to lending them money.
Yeah.
I think a lot of times we just end stuff like somebody not
Mm-hmm.
you can't really blame them. They showed you that they not reliable or capable of paying money back, but you still giving it. At that point, after the second time you lend them money, it's like kind of your fault. It's on you. You can't really get mad at them. Shit, somebody, hey, if they're the type of person like you keep giving me the money, I'm gonna keep taking it.
And some people are very much like that.
Yeah, they're like, and that's just their personality.
Yeah.
But you don't have to cut them all the way off in the money.
Or somebody, you have people like they want you to ask them for help, but then when you do, they don't follow through.
Yeah.
You know, people like that.
Yeah.
Like I knew. See, keyword knew people like that, and I just stopped asking them. Like you put me in a bind one too many times, even though you was like, "Yeah, I got you," and then you don't got me. Stop asking them. Now you know that person is not a reliable person, but maybe they're good for other things, whatever that may be. You know, my mom always taught me that too. That sometimes you may have friends in terms of friendships that are good for certain things. You may have your shopping buddy, you may have your travel buddy. Like you may not have your bestie that you do everything with. You may just be good for that. Your friend is good for that activity, and that's okay.
Mm-hmm. And once people know, you just change how you interact with them.
Yeah, you may see them
Some
less.
people, they do need to be cut off. Like, yeah, you're doing the most,
Sometimes,
but you gotta, we're just giving you little tips
but I don't think.
to set boundaries.
Yeah, they do need to be cut off, but I don't mean ghost them. When we say cut off, that doesn't mean ghost them. That means you've expressed a clear boundary. They've crossed it repeatedly, and you've just enforced your boundary.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah, we're not.
That's it.
Yeah.
Now, there are sometimes, well, I don't
Yeah.
know. Ooh, I got a tough question.
Oh, Lord.
Sorry. Can you keep, that's to you. You said, oh, Lord. Can you keep
I'm telling you, stop apologizing to me.
Yeah.
You said it's for me. You don't gotta
I mean,
apologize.
no, it's for you and them.
If it's gonna cut, it's gonna cut. I take a cut. I got Band-Aid.
To our new audience that doesn't know us, welcome. Can you keep saying someone doesn't respect your boundaries if you consistently don't respect your own boundary?
And the way you don't respect your boundary is not enforcing it, right?
Yes. Yes.
I would say no.
If you defined a clear boundary and then they cross it and
you don't do nothing about it, then no. Like, I feel like you disrespect yourself every time you don't enforce it. I disrespect myself every time I don't enforce it. If I say don't touch my stuff and you touch it, and I don't do nothing, and you touch it again, I don't do. Like, at this point, I'm disrespecting myself. Like, at that point. And I feel like we just gotta get out of that mental cycle of no one's perfect. You're gonna make mistakes. Some stuff is clear. Don't touch people's stuff. I don't care how you grew up. I don't care what you do at your mama's house. Because another example is people coming in your house, going in your cabinets and refrigerator. I had people, when I was in another relationship, their family did that. And I checked them every time. Oh, we just saw you. When we go to each other's house, we go. No.
Right.
Well, that ends.
So, for those who don't know, We are going to celebrate 10 years on Tuesday, right? That's the 25th? The 25th of this month.
Mhm.
I believe that is Tuesday. I'm like, Tuesday is not that I'm unsure of my anniversary. I'm just like, Tuesday 25th. Everything's a blur. It's a lot. We got a lot going on personally. But do you think our boundaries have shifted over the last 10 years? And if do you feel comfortable sharing any ways that yours may have?
Yeah, I'll share.
Like something you maybe used to tolerate that now you're like, absolutely not.
I feel like sometimes I was unsure of how you would respond to things, so I just not say anything at all. Like
Ditto.
not say how I truly felt about something.
Ditto.
So now I'm just like, I can't, it was eating me up inside, and it was a little resentment built up a little bit, just a little, not to the point of destruction, and I didn't like that because it really wasn't your fault that I didn't speak up. So I couldn't blame you. It was on me. I didn't speak up. You didn't,
But if you can't fault somebody for something you don't know.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I feel like we started speaking up and having those tough conversations.
Yeah. And to be honest, transparent, it was rough, when we first started doing that, because it's like, where did you come from? But then as we adjusted and realized, okay, like this is just me. I've grown, I've evolved, and I really wasn't enforcing my boundaries. I mean, that wasn't how the conversation went, but that's literally when you realize I really wasn't enforcing my boundaries, but now I am, and I can't, we had to readjust. Like, are we recommitting to the new Stephanie and Katia?
And we did a whole video on
We
whether
did.
the Hill version of Stephanie and the Hill version of Katia still can be together. You
It's
can
on
go
his
watch
YouTube
it
channel.
On his channel.
Yep.
We did a whole video.
Yep.
Because we was
debating. It was like a couple years ago.
Yeah,
we gave it till the end of the year. That was it, 2024. Yep. It was the end of 2024.
Yep. And so sometimes, like, you put up with stuff for so long, and then you start, well, you go to therapy or life coach, whatever, or personal inner healing work. You open your eyes to a lot, and sometimes you realize you like bonded over trauma with people, and the Hill version y'all may not like.
Yeah, that's how people do trauma.
And I'm not saying that's our case, but just saying in general, we didn't do that. But I'm just saying, like, it happens.
It does, and it can happen.
So I'm glad.
Yeah.
And so it just really taught me to like just follow through on your boundaries. And sometimes we're not gonna always like what's said. And she said her boundary. I can't get mad.
Is there anything that you can think of that you used to interpret as a boundary that you now just realize it wasn't a boundary? It was just, like the example that we used earlier. If not, that's fine. What did we say earlier? Shit. The Topomax. When we gave the example earlier in the live, we were like, that's not a boundary. Then we gave the example of
not yelling?
Yes. Oh, yeah. You're not allowed to yell at me.
Yes.
Versus, if you continue to yell at me, I'm going to end the conversation. Thank you. See, teamwork. Like, is there anything you can think of where you used to say that, or not that exactly, but used to communicate in that way? Now you've learned to just like not appropriately, but communicate your boundary better.
Yeah, when it comes to tone, like, I don't like your tone. That's not a boundary. Can you, just expressing it, like when you say this, it bothers me. Something like that.
Got it.
That's like being more specific, because it could be. And sometimes it's just, sometimes it's, people just getting hurt internally, and it just stings. So you just like, sometimes it's a deflection. it was deflection. But sometimes it could have very well would just like
Learn how to.
navigate that.
Okay. 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
That's a long time.
My
That's
longest.
mine too. I mean, we've been across that threshold for me, but
Mhm.
many, many,
It's
many,
been
many,
a
many
minute
moons
for me
ago.
too.
Many,
6
many,
years.
many, many moons ago. No, I mean, like, we crossed mine before that. That's why I was like, we've been across that. Well, so do you want to do like some rapid fire questions to like kind of
Sure.
see how we feel? And for those who've made it this far, comment yours too. Okay, boundary or decision? Oh, we should have did our boards. Darn. Anyways, someone keeps borrowing money and not repaying it. At this point, do you need to set a boundary or do you need to make a decision?
For me, it's a decision.
Okay.
Someone repeatedly calls you names during arguments and apologize afterward.
Ooh, decision. If I've told them that I don't like it. Oh, apologizes. I did, which means they know. Oh, I missed
There
the
you go.
I missed the apology. I missed it. Yes, you said apology. Yeah, you did. You said apologize. A family member keeps bringing up something you've repeatedly asked them not to do.
A decision cut off.
Yeah, especially they keep bringing it up like, bro, like we trying to bury that. Like, come on, like it was embarrassing.
Right.
Like, bro, trying to forget it.
Yeah.
Sorry.
A friend constantly cancels plans at the last minute.
Boundary. And then after a while, it's gonna be a decision because generally that's a pattern. So after you set that boundary, you're gonna have to make a decision.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're gonna have to. In closing.
Yeah. So everything comes back. Let's bring it on back in. A boundary tells you where the line is. Your decision shows you what happens when they cross it.
Yeah. Sometimes it's not, moving different isn't finding a better way to explain yourself or explain what's happening. It's just making finally a different decision with the information that you had. And sometimes you had the information the whole time. They told you with your actions, you just didn't want to listen. But if you found this helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe. Tap that bell so you get notified when we post. Hit it.
You are the designer and creator of your destiny. You control your future. Do something daily to get you closer to your goals. This your girl KG. I'm the K from SK. This my lovely wife Stephanie. She's the S from SK. Y'all have an amazing night and have an amazing day on purpose tomorrow.
Good night.
Good night, family.